Hello everyone and welcome back to another video on Chasing the Illusion. As you could probably tell, I'm not going to be doing a trick video, a tutorial, or going into theory of magic. No, today I am doing a whole video on shameless plugging my new project, my new book, which I'm sure if you've been following the channel have heard a lot about. I've written a book, comes out today. It's out right now, link will be in the description. But if you've got any questions on the book before you purchase it, then stick around for this video because I'm going to be answering all the questions that I got asked when I asked the question. If you've got any questions on the book. So yeah, hopefully I've answered all your questions and you buy my book, Dip into Deception. Let's get into the questions. So, the first question is, what inspired you to write the book? Basically, if you've been in the realm of magic, which I'm sure most of you have been if you are watching this video and even thinking about buying my book, there's a kind of line between magic and mentalism, mind reading stuff. And there's an argument in the magic world that magic and mind reading are two separate things, which in a way it sort of is, and I'm not disagreeing with that. But the argument that I have is that people think that you should either do magic or mind reading, and you shouldn't mix the two. You need to dedicate your whole life to magic, like card tricks, sleight of hand, making things disappear, or mind reading, predictions, reading minds, influence, psychology, things like that. Whereas I think, for me, I am a self-proclaimed mentalist magician. Because I grew up learning magic tricks. I wanted to learn magic tricks and I fell out of love with magic and I wanted to be an actor. And then I started learning psychology for my acting. And then that's what got me back into mind reading, psychology, influencing people. And then that's what got me back into the magic that I learned growing up. So for me, it's two very similar things. And with the tricks that I do, I mix the two in between. So that's what kind of inspired me to write this book. It's a mixture of both magic and mind reading, mentalism, because I don't think a lot of books go into detail on what mind reading and mentalism both is. So the reason why I wrote the book and the inspiration for it was this whole argument that there's two separate, there's more than two categories with magic, there's escapology and things like that, but the main two are basically magic and mentalism. And I think they could be a two, and they can be a two things why I do what I do. So, hopefully I answered your question. Next one, is this book for beginners? Yes and no. Yes and no. So, that's a really bad way to answer that question. I'm so sorry. Yes and no. Basically, yes, because like I said in the last question, it's based on magic and mind reading. So, and it's kind of for the people that are, if they're a magician but they want to dip their toes into mentalism, you have the basics for mentalism in this book. Vice versa, if you're into mentalism but you want to dip your toes into magic, then that's there for you. But then it also goes on a journey on how to begin with magic or mind reading or both into more intricate things like putting on a show, to getting gigs, to networking, to things like that. So I think if you're already at that point where you're putting on shows or you're getting consistent gigs, then yeah, this book is probably not for you. But if you're starting out in magic or mentalism, or if you are in the middle of, or if you're a hobbyist sort of thing and you're in the middle and you're looking to have a career and you want to put on shows with it and you want to get paid for it, then again, this book is good for you too. A lot of the tricks in here are very basic tricks. Like I said, it's the very beginnings on how to get started into it, but there is some, grander illusions like stage shows. So yeah, you can. It is a beginner book, but it's also not. It's kind of beginner to intermediate, if that's yeah. I'd say yeah, beginner to intermediate. Next one, how many pages is it? It's about 60 pages. That was an easy question to answer. It's about 60 pages. I think there's like 10 or 12 chapters, and like I said, it goes on a journey of beginner, how to start it, all the way to how you can get paid and network and be in magic communities and things like that. So, next one, how long did it take you to write the book? I started writing it about halfway through filming Is Magic Real? So, I would say it probably took about just over a year to write it. I mean, like I've said, this feeling and this thought process of writing this book has been lingering in my mind since the very beginning. So, yeah, I've already kind of always wanted to know what I was going to write in there. So it's the idea of it's been probably 10 plus years, but the actual writing it, putting pen to paper or typing onto a document, yeah, it probably took just over a year to write. So, next question. What is your favourite trick from the book? Tell you what, my favourite trick from the book, it's probably a group of tricks actually. It's the Grand Illusions chapter. I mean, some of you may or may not know, I've had a stage show called Show and Tell, and it was amazing. I absolutely loved it. Ran for a couple of months, and yeah, I absolutely loved doing that. But it was very intimate, and it was very, it was 30 people at maximum who could come and see the show. And because I wanted everyone to be involved, and everyone was involved, any more would have been different. But in the far, far, far future, maybe I'll have an actual proper stage show. And yeah, these Grand Illusions helped me be creative because I am a intimate, casual kind of magician. I much prefer going, up to tables or over to people to perform magic, or if I'm with a group of friends, just, doing a magic trick to people. I much prefer that sort of thing than grander illusions. So it made me a bit more creative to create grand illusions for the book, how to put on a stage show and tricks that everybody knows. Most of these tricks aren't actually tricks that I've created for this. It's tricks that everybody's seen and that I've seen, but I actually don't know how they're performed. So I've just been like, how would I perform these tricks? And how would I create these tricks? And what are the secrets that I would do if I was putting on this trick? So yeah, the Grand Illusions is probably my favourite section and my favourite trick section. Hopefully that answered your question. Next one. Do you perform any of the tricks in this book? Yeah, I do. I perform basically all of them, apart from the Grand Illusions, really. I perform basically all of them. There's a coin disappearing trick, which I perform on a day-to-day basis. Some of the card tricks that I teach in there are card tricks that I do. Obviously, I'm not going to be teaching all of my repertoire, because that would be destroying my own performances when I go out, if everyone knows how it's done. So yes, I do perform majority of all the tricks in there. Again, depends on the situation as well, because the tricks are quite beginner, and I mean, I touch on this in the whole book anyway, and I've said it on this channel, but most tricks are the same. Most methods are the same. It just depends on how you present your tricks. That makes it look like a completely different trick. So, yeah, I do perform most of the tricks that are in this book still. Next one. Did you leave any tricks in this book? Did you leave out any tricks in this book? If so, why? Yeah, like I said, I'm not going to be detrimental to my whole performances and getting gigs myself. So, yeah, I put in some tricks that I perform, and then I was like, no, I really like performing these tricks. These are my favourite tricks to perform, and I still perform them, and they get my biggest reactions. I'm not going to be putting this in this book. I mean, one day I'm sure I'll teach it, and one day I'm sure I'll add it into a book or a project video or something like that. But yeah, there's a lot of tricks. I think originally it was about double the size. I think it was about 120 pages, if not more, and I cut it all the way down. So yeah, that's why, because I didn't want to be detrimental to my own career. So that's why I left out some tricks. Next question: how is Dip into Deception structured into teaching in terms of magic and mentalism? Okay, so again, I've kind of already touched on this already. How is it structured? So there's clear categories, chapter by chapter, if this is a magic category or a mentalism category. So magic is sleight of hand, card tricks. Mentalism is not even forces. Sorry, it's psychological influence tricks. It's mind reading. It's peaks. It's things like that. So there's clear at the very beginning. There's clear structure of this is a magic trick. This is a mentalism trick, and once you've kind of decided what avenue you want to go down to, here's how to get gigs, here's how to put on a show, and here's how to get networking and things like that. So that's how it's clearly structured, and you can tell by the chapters and their titles and the subtitles what entails in this chapter. Next one. Is this book just a PDF, or can I also get a physical copy? Yes, you can get both. You can get a PDF, which is available right now. Like I said, link is in the description to pick up your PDF, and it will be sent to you straight away. Physical copies are still on pre-order as this video comes out. It was still on pre-order, just so I can gauge how many people want a physical copy, because my last book, only a couple of people wanted a physical copy. So I ended up, having loads and giving some away. And also it's a waste of paper, which I'm very big into recycling, so it's a waste of paper in a way. So yeah, I kind of want to gauge how many people want a physical copy, hence why the pre-order is still up there. And then once I have a week or so for that to go up, I'll see how many people have pre-ordered a physical copy. Then the physical copies will be ordered, printed, sent out, and then any that's left over will be given away or still on the website for anyone to buy them until they're sold out, basically. So yeah, it's just a way to gauge how many people want it. But again, PDFs are just easy to send out straight away. As soon as someone orders it, gets sent straight away. So yes, you can get both. But you might have to wait a little bit longer for the physical copies. Next question: why is it called Dip Why is it called Dip into Deception? Well, like I said in one of the other questions, if you're into magic and you want to dip your toes into mentalism, this is the book. Vice versa, if you're into mentalism, if you're into mentalism and you want to dip your toes into magic, then this is the book for you. That's why it's called Dip into Deception, because you're dipping into deception, whatever deceptive world you want to go into, magic or mentalism. So that's why it's called Dip into Deception. And it's a nice little, DD, Dip into Deception, and it's really hard to say clearly. So maybe I should have thought of a different word for it or a name for it. Too late now. Okay, now we're moving on to some questions that aren't really to do with the book, but that's okay. Are there any new projects you are working on? Yep. There's some other projects that I'm working on. There's one that I am currently working on that has nothing to do with the channel, and it's actually someone else's thing. So that's exciting. That's going to be fun, but I can't really talk about it right now. But I'm sure I will, and I'm sure who that person is will be posting stuff about it once it's done and completed. So yes. And the other one is, I think I've mentioned it. If not, it's definitely on my membership, the Chase membership. So check that out. You also get discounts on the book that I'm talking about as well. So check out the Chase membership. Yeah, the Chase membership definitely knows what's going on with my next bigger project. It's another series. I'm working on another series. Is Magic Rules the first one? This is a second series. It's not Is Magic Real. This series is going to be more magic based. I'm pushing the boundaries of what magic can be. That's what I'm giving away at the moment because I'm being very secretive. All I know is that it's going to be way more professional than Is Magic Real. I've hired a studio. I've got a cast of people lined up. I've been having interviews, been having meetings with people. It's proper, like, wow. I've learned from my mistakes from Is Magic Real. It took 2 years to film that series because people weren't scheduled in and people were just like, yeah, I'll do it, and then they never did. This time I'm putting time and effort into scheduling people in, hiring a studio, hiring spaces, having a plan of what episode is the order. So yeah man, that's exciting, but that's all I'm going to say on the series. Okay, moving on to the last question. What's with this character that keeps showing up? Well, this character that keeps showing up is